Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin podcast. I am your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
What's up, guys?
And obviously, this is a bit of a disappointing week. We're coming back with our first loss, 8-1. Tough week this past week against the Commanders. We've got a lot to talk about on this podcast. So, first I want to hear your initial thoughts, Matt.
My initial thoughts. You want to hear my initial thoughts, Matt? Is that we got dominated and it was awful to watch, and I hated every second of that game. I did not like the way that they had 40 minutes of possession. I did not like the way that they were converting in the first half, 9 for 12 on third downs. I did not like the way that we played at all, and we didn't make adjustments immediately to their play calling. I did not like the way that we didn't run Miles Sanders at all in the first half. We didn't try to establish the run at all. We didn't try to establish anything. I just didn't like the way up and down this team played, and I didn't even know we had a chance to get back in the game. I did not blame any of the refs. I don't blame any of those calls. I don't even blame Quez for fumbling. I blame our team as a whole.
Well, I don't blame the fact that Quez fumbled on us losing. I'm a firm believer, and you get 4 quarters to play football. You can never come down to just saying one play made the difference. If you wanted to make the difference, you would have scored more. That's the bottom line. You get 4 quarters to play football. You got to beat them. Bottom line. And we had a chance to win this game, but we didn't beat them by any means. Like you said, they were the better team in every aspect of the game. They ran the ball better, they passed the ball better, and they played better defense. In the second half, we turned it around a little bit and made some adjustments and started making, a little bit of a comeback, but it wasn't a complete game. And I was personally really disappointed in the play calling on both sides of the ball.
No, so let's get into it. What side of the ball do you want me to criticize first?
Let's start with the offense for sure. What do you have to say? Let's start with you.
Offensively, obviously the first drive of the game, we had the offsides or the whatever calling the punt, and then we ended up getting a touchdown in the first drive, go up 7-0. I just want to know why Miles isn't out there for the first snap of the game, why Stott's getting the first carry of the game, and why we don't use Miles ever. We hate using him in the red zone / at all in the first half. That blew my mind. I don't know if that's crazy.
Trust me, that was the biggest mind blower for me. I've been saying it all year. I'm not going to change my stance. We have the best O-line in the league, and we've got a top 10 running back. And for some reason, we're just refusing to use them. And I really don't get it, because we obviously saw the difference of using the run game in the second half. It worked. No kidding. Surprise, surprise. We have a running back that averages 5 yards per carry and the best O-line in the league. Our play calling was so atrocious on both sides of the ball, especially offense. It just seemed like there was not only no creativity whatsoever, but we always go back to the way that we don't set up our plays, and this game was by far the worst of those. We didn't use anything to set up another play whatsoever. We didn't use the run to set up play actions. We can't use play actions. We weren't freaking running the ball. We weren't using, we weren't adjusting to their coverage. They were playing a very interesting coverage, actually. The first time I've seen it against AJ Brown, and clearly it worked. They were playing a deep man, where they were playing 2 inside guys in zone and 2 outside guys in man, and they were playing a deep man, and then they would attack on AJ Brown's break, and it did make a big difference because AJ Brown wasn't able to, be up close and use his release skills, and he wasn't quite fast enough to beat them to the spot when they were giving him the room. So that was an interesting thing to see. But once again, that's not something I put on AJ Brown or anything. That's something we didn't adjust to. When something like that happens, run a freaking double move. They were breaking on the immediate first move of AJ Brown. Use a freaking double move. There was no. It is frustrating to talk about because obviously being the first loss, this one hurts a lot, especially being to a divisional team. But it just really didn't feel like we had any adjustments until the second half, even kind of later in the second half. And by that point, that's where mistakes started killing us.
And mistakes happen, and it's this is just unexcusable. For we could have moved this ball against this team, and it was just like the main part about like that really made me angry was we get the ball off a minute 39 left in the second quarter,
same thing
right before halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, we literally didn't burn 30 seconds off the clock. It was ridiculous. Like we just tried to do these short screens, and I don't know what we were doing. And then like we had Jalen just throw it away, and we're like, oh, we're gonna give you the ball back with a chance to get a field goal. Obviously, they made that like 58-yard field goal to like end the half. But like, I wasn't mad that they got that. I was just mad. Why are we not trying to? First of all, if we don't get ourselves in field goal position, there should be no time left for that team to have a chance of doing anything, because you have the ball. Like, you have every opportunity to just kill it and go to half down 3. And like, it was just so frustrating to watch. Like, this team was just like, I haven't seen this out of our team. Like, obviously we've seen aspects of it, and we're gonna get on the defensive side because you called some of it, but it was just, they exposed us on every aspect, and we didn't make adjust. I don't know what Sirianni was doing. It literally reminded me of when we were doing really bad at the beginning of last season, old Sirianni making the play calls, not running with Miles, and it was just like, you're making Jalen Hurts become Patty Mahomes, which he's not. And I'm not trying to say that in a negative way. I'm just saying he's not a guy that goes back in the pocket and it's all on him all the time.
I agree.
No, I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to give a comparison or anything. I'm just saying he's not the guy that you just, here you go, Jalen. Like, this is all you right now. Like, he has his moments, and he will have his moments, and he is a very talented quarterback, and I love Jalen, and I don't put this all on him. But the play calling was just abysmal, and it was very frustrating.
No, I agree. Jalen Hurts has never been the gunslinger type. You know, he's somebody that thrives off of using the run game in his game, you know, and it's something that we've done well so far this year to help provide. And for some reason, we're not noticing that that's a big part of his game. The thing that's bothering me the most is that I'm looking at these problems and I'm feeling like they're very easily diagnosable. But for some reason, it seems like rocket science to these Eagles coaches right now.
It's ridiculous.
And I don't understand what they're seeing and saying, all right, we shouldn't use Miles Sanders this game. I don't know what they're seeing and saying, all right, we shouldn't use A.J. Brown this way or that way. Like, like, okay, like, they're also not saying, like, all right, A.J. Brown is getting, you know, double covered, and they're focusing on shutting down A.J. Brown. Let's run some plays for Devontae Smith
or Goddard. It was absurd. We didn't adjust to it, and it was just use him as a D. Take a safety away then, and then put Devontae over top. We ended up doing that with Kez, because we had to, and we finally made adjustments in the second half. But like, it was just like, this defense is not that good to be doing that to you guys, like, especially in the secondary. It was just.
Yeah, I mean, they're sick. I'll give their secondary some credit that I think that they played very well in this game. I don't think that they made a whole lot of mistakes. And in general, like, the thing that really comes down to at the end of the day is that the Eagles played their worst game of the season, and the Commanders played their best. They didn't mess up a whole lot against us. They didn't do a whole lot wrong. We are a better team than them, which is why we were still in that game for so long. But, you know, sometimes that happens. You know, it's any given Sunday. You know, I'm personally glad. You know, a lot of people are going to say they're glad that we lost. You know, it's hard to say that I'm glad that we lost to a division rival, because this is a team that I obviously think we should have beat, and I would have preferred that we lose to a slightly better team. But in a way, I think that would have scared me more, because we haven't seen them play a ton of great teams yet. They've played a few, and they've done well so far. But for the most part, we can agree that their schedule's been pretty easy, and it's hence why they're where they're at for the most part. And I just think that, you know, if they lose to a really good team, then you start hearing people say, "Oh, you see, they can't beat the good teams." But, we lose to a division rival, which division games are always tough and scrappy, no matter how bad or good one team or the other is. This team played their absolute heart out. We did not. We played a bad game. And I'm sitting here thinking, all right, they just played a bad game. It happens. It doesn't make me worried for the outcome of the season. It doesn't make me think, all right, they're not going to be able to beat good teams now. It doesn't make me think, okay, they're going to start losing all of a sudden. Like, no. They played a bad game, and they still almost won. I think there's takeaways to take from that, and I think that, this is going to be, especially losing to a bad team, that's when you're like, all right, shit, we need to get our stuff together and figure this out. And I think they just got a little high and mighty on themselves, being 8-0, and I think that this is the wake-up call they needed. So I'm honestly not horribly upset about it. There's part of me that wishes it was to a different team instead of the Commanders. But it's not that big of a deal, These guys also almost beat Minnesota last week. They're playing on a hot roll right now, which I told you they would probably be doing, running with Taylor Heineke. They really rally around that guy, and it's obvious. So there's still a lot to talk about, but I just think that this is something that Eagles fans really should not take to heart so hard, because it's a long season. We all knew that we weren't going to go undefeated, but we all started getting a little giddy thinking that we could. And it's just a wake-up call.
Just a wake-up call. On Monday Night Football at home against this team that you murdered the first time. I give no credit. I just don't think that we played even the slightest good other than the third quarter drive that we got touched on in the fourth to Devonta. I think that this game was just abysmal and was sad to watch. I think we came in, like you said, unprepared, and it was just, I don't know if it was a wake-up call. It was just sad. It was
I disagree. I didn't think it was sad because while I was watching the game, we were making mistakes, but I didn't think we played abysmal. I really didn't, honestly. I think that our mistakes just killed us. I think in all three of the drives that we fumbled on, we were on our way to a score. So imagine three more touchdowns in that game. Is anyone saying the same thing anymore? No. They did play bad, but I just don't think this is something to be so worried about. I just think that they just played a bad game and happened to have the mistakes not go their way this game. Obviously, we've talked about all year, one of the biggest reasons the Eagles are winning is their turnover differential. They're always winning the turnover battle. 3 turnovers into the season up to this point. And you have 4 turnovers in this game. If you do that, it's hard to win a game. It's very hard to win a game. And it's very clear, if we're not winning the turnover battle, it makes a difference.
My problem was more on the defense. And then, I know we didn't get into it yet, but let's just hop right into it. They couldn't stop. It was the longest. Do you know what the longest run was?
Probably 8 yards.
11 yards. They averaged 3.1 yards per carry, but that's a little bit skewed because of
when I was rewatching all the highlights and the Sports Center clips and them running through their little quick run through the games, I was watching and just rewatching the game in general. They were not picking up yards on us at all. They were just picking up chunks, little chunks, and it was literally almost every drive would be a 5-yard run, then a 4-yard run. And then on 3rd and 1, they would either run it up the gut with Brian Robinson or they'd run a sneak. Almost every single drive went exactly that way. Almost every one. And
so my question is, why don't we stop that? It was annoying to me that it was so consistently happening. Why don't we adjust to that? Why are we getting into these situations? We're waiting for them to mess up on 3rd down.
That's another one of my problems, obviously. We've talked about that the coaching adjustments on both sides were terrible. I thought that Jonathan Gannon was worse than the offensive play calling by Steichen. I've watched this multiple times throughout the year where Gannon picks a game plan and just refuses to adjust. And it was infuriating to watch. So I noticed that he was using a little more man this time, and I missed some of the zone plays that people were talking about in the beginning of the game. When I was out when the game had started, and I got back and started watching around the middle of the second quarter. and that seemed to be right around when they made an adjustment to start running into man. And even that didn't work very well because our safety coverage was not very good in their help, and it bothers me that Gannon just, I feel like he's almost got an ego to him that he just like doesn't want to be wrong. It's like if you're sitting there watching what's happening, we're not getting any pressure with our 4-man front. We're not getting any pressure at all in general. Our box is not stacked and they're running all over us. I feel like I feel like most people would say it's a very easy adjustment. Boom, stack the box and start blitzing. You can still run your man coverage in the back. If it doesn't work, bottom line, I mean, just like, I don't know, just stack the box in general. We didn't stack the box at any point when they were just running the ball on us. You stack the box, and if they start passing it and beating us over the top, then you switch back. But when they're only running the ball the whole time, stack the damn box and get after him. Go after him. We didn't run. We practically ran I only noticed like 2 blitzes, and both of them got there. Why are we so afraid to blitz?
Dude,
why does he hate blitzing? It makes no sense.
And this is against Taylor Heineke. And I understand he had his long completions, and he didn't have a horrible game. He didn't have a good game. I'll say that. He didn't have a good game. He had a 66 quarterback rating. He didn't have a great game. But when they did get those big yards was play action plays, and then we're just caught behind in a lackluster zone, and it was just wide open receivers. And it was just very frustrating because pressure this dude. He's not Patty Mahomes. Like, we don't they're running it down our throats and literally taking chunks and chunks off the play clock. It was like giving our offense no time. And that, I think that also carries into why we played so bad on offense, is because we had no time to establish anything. I don't know if we were going to establish anything, but we had no time to. They had it for 2/3 of the game. Like,
every drive they were coming out after like a 15 play, 10-minute drive, and then we jump on the field and get a 3 and out without running the ball once. It was like, as that's something that I have to put on Nick Sirianni as a head coach. That's something you have to notice and make that adjustment. Like, you have to sit there and look at the clock and say, they're killing us in the time of possession field. We have to do something to keep the ball longer and keep them off the field, because momentum's a thing. Momentum's 1,000,000% a thing.
100%.
You let them hold the momentum for the entirety of the game. Yeah, damn right. It makes it hard to catch momentum and win a game. Every time we started to catch momentum, we'd let the wind out of our sails with a stupid turnover.
And it was not even momentum, but you're just keeping your defense on the field that much longer. I wouldn't want to say the word struggling against the run game, but they're just. I swear. What I was thinking was
struggling. They were struggling.
No, they're struggling, but they were just waiting for him. They would get the 3rd down, and then they would go, all right, please, don't get these 2 yards or these 3 yards. They're looking around, looking for someone else to make a play. Obviously Chauncey had an interception. That was great. I mean, there's a few plays in the game that we can be happy about, but that was a horrible throw, by the way. But Taylor Heineke stinks. This game was just everyone looking around for someone else. No accountability. And I just felt like we played very soft, and it was just sad to watch. And I hope it is a wake-up call. And I know we're big along on this one, so let's go into the Colts. If they don't come out against the Colts firing, then I'm going to be concerned. I'm going to actually have major concerns.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that they definitely will, considering, when you have a wake-up call against a bad team like that, they're going to come out this week thinking they want to kill the hell out of the Colts. They have something to prove this week, big time. But
do they? It's Monday Night Football, Matt. You got to wake up at home.
Yes, Maz, relax, dude.
No, I'm mad.
The bottom line is that we were 8-0 and got a big head. That's it. Doesn't matter what team we would have played there. That was a game we were walking, and oh yes, it does actually, because I saw it in the post game pressers. I saw it in the comments that the players said after the game. They thought they were going to roll over this team. They walked into this game thinking they were going to roll them over, just like we did. As all fans sitting around, everyone thought, "Oh, this isn't a game we have to worry about at all." That's when things start getting bad. That's when you have the surprises. When you start thinking that there's no way. This is still the NFL. Any damn team in this league can beat any other damn team at any second. Doesn't matter how good or bad the other team is. Some days you just have a bad day, and some days the other team has a good day. And that's what happened. This is not the end of the world for the Eagles.
I hate the Commanders. They're not a good team.
They're not, but they're playing really well right now. They're playing their minds out right now because everyone is rallying around Taylor Heineke, and they're rolling off their momentum, and they're playing really good football. They beat the Packers. Then they came out and should have beat the Vikings. Then they came out and beat the Eagles. Can you really say that they're not a good team?
They're playing. They're falling off. Like, these are just bad situations for every team they're running into that they're just playing well against.
That goes back to the same thing. Then you could go back and say that the Eagles lost the game because of penalties. You know, you can't make excuses for these things. They're winning games. You cannot make excuses. They're beating good teams right now.
I don't think they're a good team.
I'm not sitting here saying I think they're going to make the Super Bowl now. I'm just saying that people shouldn't have been looking at them like they're like a 1-win team, or like a no-win team. Like, people were looking at them like this is a given.
All right, let me clarify. Let me clarify what I'm trying to say. I don't think they're the worst team in the league. Like, I don't actually think that. But what I think is, before this game going in, and what I expect of this team, of the Eagles, is that we are the best team in the league. Like, I expect us to be number one. If we're gonna have that standard on us, we have to beat these non-playoff teams / middle / whatever you want to put them at. Maybe they make the playoffs. I don't care. They're not winning this division. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'll do it if they win the division. I'll cry. But like, I put us to a standard of the highest level of football in the league. And I think it's just abysmal how we just rolled over. And I understand, like, everything else. I just thought that's the reason I'm upset, is because we all put such a high standard on this team, and so did everyone. And we all just wanted like, credit for our easy schedule and everything. Like, everyone discrediting us for our easy schedule. And it's just annoying because now we had the Vikings ranked ahead of us and we beat them. But after that game, you can't say like we're better than the Vikings because they just beat the Bills, and now everyone's like on that.
Well, that's completely up to suggestion. I've seen like three different power rankings that still have Eagles at the top. Like, I know what you're saying. I just don't agree. I do agree that yes, we're supposed to destroy the bad teams. We're supposed to, hold them to a standard of being the best team in the league. I no matter what, I still think that this could have happened to the best team in the league as well. I just don't see it that way. Nobody's talking about the fact that the Bills just lost 2 games in a row. People still think they're a Super Bowl contender, don't they? Same with the Chiefs. The Chiefs lost to the damn Colts. Did anyone have a problem with it? No. I don't know why everyone's so freaking out about the Eagles. It's this whole stupid narrative that they have an easy schedule, that nobody thinks that they can beat a good team. That's not the case. We've seen the level of talent that the league has this year. Like, the threshold is the threshold. Like, we are at the top. Bottom line, plain and simple. And we are above the Chiefs and the Bills. I think, 100%. People are ignoring the fact that Josh Allen leads the league in interceptions this year. Everybody likes to ignore things here and there and everywhere because they just want to put their narrative on it, and they want to slow the hell down. Everyone needs to slow down. This is not the end. This is not us being a bad team. This is us we had a bad game in the middle of the season, dead center of the season. We have a long way to go. Like, I've been saying the whole time, things are going to change. I did not know when or how or why, but here we are. And I just don't think that this is something to be that worried about. I really, really don't.
That's fair. But this is I just want us to be better. And I think I just don't like getting outplayed for 4 quarters and not being able to. My biggest problem on this game is the adjustments being made. Because at halftime, I was texting you and I was like, I feel like we're down by like 4 touchdowns and it's a 6-point game. I just felt like, and I was like, all right, here come the adjustments. Like, this is where we go. All right, we have played like maybe the worst half of football since forever. Like, there was a stat they ran. The amount of plays they ran was like the most in like the length since like 2001, I believe the stat was. It was ridiculous how many plays they ran. And it was just, I just wanted to see adjustments be made on both sides of the ball, and they weren't significant enough. Obviously, we only gave up 6 points. I don't count the last touchdown we got.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But and I know and I understand that, but they still were able to take time off the clock, and they were still able to win the game. And let's move on to the Colts game because I'm done with this game.
I've got one last thing to say is that I think that that's the bottom line of it is that I don't think that this team needs to get better. I don't think that they need to, I don't think that there's things they have to do to work on. I think that it just kind of came down to coaching this game. I think that the coaching kind of let them down. I don't think that they're the only reason, obviously, but I think that they're the biggest reason. And I think that, I've been saying all year that I think if this team makes minor adjustments to their coaching strategy and their game plan, almost every game is a complete blowout if they just do a couple things differently. So, once again, we've said our thoughts here. We know what we think. We know we're upset about it. We know that there's things that is something that we can move on from and figure out. I'm just hoping that the coaches can do their side and show that they're actively making adjustments to what they did wrong.
And guys, I gotta say one more thing. If anyone here blames it on the penalties and like stuff like that, it's not ever gonna like the Brandon Graham. No. You can't blame it on any of these penalties because like the referee's gonna not be perfect. And as Jason Kelsey said, if they don't call it, it didn't happen, and it didn't happen until they're gonna change the rule eventually. But they're not. It didn't happen. The face mask didn't happen because they didn't call it. So get over it.
I personally think they should have a rule where we've talked about how we haven't talked about they had the rule the past couple of years where you could challenge penalties and they took it away real quick. I think that they should have a rule where you can challenge penalties only in the last 2 minutes, but because I hate when penalties do ruin games, or not ruin, but at least end them. So I don't think that we even would have won this challenge because I think that unfortunately. No matter what, it was roughing the passer. It just looked soft. There's nothing anyone could have done about that.
The face mask, though.
The face mask hurts. The face mask hurts a lot. But
yeah. And they probably will change it because they changed the pass interference penalty because of that call on the Rams corner against the Saints. But we'll see. I know we're running long on this. We had to discuss it for a little bit. Let's go into this crappy Colts team run by Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, I'll have to be a little quicker about this one, but I think that this is another game that we should win for sure, but it's another game that's a little scary because of our run defense. Their O-line hasn't been great this year, but they've obviously got Jonathan Taylor back there, and considering Jonathan Taylor hasn't had a great year this year, but they did just get Jeff Saturday as their coach, who was an offensive lineman for his whole career, and what do offensive linemen love to do? They love to bully and run the ball. So, last week, his first week as a head coach, what happens? Jonathan Taylor has 150 yards and a touchdown. Surprise, surprise. They're going to run the ball against us heavily. So that's something we're going to have to figure out. What adjustments can be made? Are we going to stack the box? Are we going to start running a 3-4? Have more linebackers back there. Run more blitz packages out of it. I'm curious to see what Gannon, if Gannon will think up anything because he's been scaring me all year.
He has to. We can't. If we lose this game to Jonathan Taylor, it's just not an excuse. Like we have to get our run defense back. Like we had 2 weeks in a row where I'm not saying Brian Robinson went super crazy on us. It's just they kept getting yards, and it's just
if Jonathan Taylor does that, he's going to pick up a lot of yards.
He's going to get more than 11 yards on those bigger holes that Brian Robinson had. I'll tell you that. And he's going to break a couple tackles too because we apparently can't tackle because we're soft as poop.
That's something I forgot to mention earlier in the Redskins. The Commanders game. I'm going to say it all year, jeez. But I was going to mention the fact that our tackling was just god awful, atrocious, like terrible. So there's not a whole lot I can say to be done about that. I just hope they fix that. Just stop being soft. There's not a whole lot to do to fix that. They know how to tackle properly. So I'm not going to say get them doing tackling drills. They all know how to tackle. They just need to start doing it. So
the mentality that they want to kill somebody.
Yeah. But with this Colts game, I think that, it does come a bit into our advantage that we're coming off a loss as an 8-1 team. Playing a bad team. This is a game that we're coming in hot and ready, I think. And on top of that, we got a coach that's brand new. The whole team doesn't know what's going on right now. There's going to be a level of confusion amongst them that hopefully we can use to our advantage, especially on our offensive side of the ball, keeping their defense confused.
They have a linebacker that's out for them, and he's one of their better players. But
yeah, Shaq Leonard. All right. Well,
Shaq Leonard. Yeah. But that even being said, we have to pressure. We're not allowed to play a zone against Matty Ice because he's a veteran in this league, and no matter how much you think he stinks now or whatever, he's been an MVP level.
He'll pick you apart.
He'll pick us apart, and he'll dump it off easy. He will get those holes in the zone and demolish us, and then they'll just run all over us. It would be sad if we don't make the adjustments we need to. I will literally be sad. I might be crying on the podcast. It's just like this team beat the Raiders. The Raiders are in shambles. The Raiders are not a good team right now.
Mm-mm.
Like the
Raiders are terrible.
I thought so. Everyone thought the Colts were going into tanking mode when they said Sam Ehlinger is going to start the rest of the season. Then Jeff Saturday comes and goes, "No, like we're gonna try to win." All right,
said, yeah, screw you guys. I don't know why you guys want to lose, but I'm a winner. So
I want to have a job because I just came off of commentating and like you guys gave me a shot. I'm not getting made fun of. So obviously they're gonna have a good game plan coming in. I don't think the talent is necessarily there. Their O-line hasn't played well at all. Who's the guy we just signed today? Who's the guy we just signed today for?
We signed Linval Joseph, a D tackle. I was actually just about to mention that. It's actually a nice pickup. He hasn't played, all year, which is a little bit scary, but he's a massive guy. He's like Jordan Davis. He's just a big body, takes up a ton of room, and we just picked him up to be a run stopper. That's all he is.
That's what we need.
Yeah, it is exactly what we need.
This team is like Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman. They're not the worst receivers I've ever seen, but they're not great. We should be able to do something with the team. I just don't think they. God, we just need to better. We need to run the ball versus this team can't stop anything. By the way, this team's not able to stop anything. This Colts team is not good, not good at all. I'm just scared, Matt. Like, comfort me and make sure that this doesn't happen again against a bad team.
Well, obviously,
I need hope.
Don't you worry.
There's nothing I can say right now because we're better than them in every aspect. And like, I don't know. We did. I just saw that.
It's there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just it comes down to, are we going to make adjustments that need to be made? Because, like I said in last week's game, and it's going to continue after this one, there is now a target on the Eagles' back saying, "Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball." Everyone in the league now knows it. They just opened up a whole new world against the Eagles. So everyone knows that they just have to run the ball against us. And we are sitting here with the opportunity to adjust. What are we going to do to fix that and make sure that isn't a problem for us anymore and teams don't think they can run the ball on us? What is Gannon going to do to change that up? Like I said, I think that my idea would be to stop running a 4-3, change it to a 3-4, have an extra linebacker back there, put Nakobe Dean back there, your boy, add one more linebacker back there, have the extra. Now you've got extra, you got extra coverage in the middle and the back, and it gives you more opportunities to blitz. And on top of that, the reason you don't do that all the time is because you expect your front four to get there. But our front four, unfortunately, really has not been getting there in the past probably like 5 games. That I haven't seen our front four just getting to the quarterback in a while. Obviously, it happens here and there, but it's not consistent. Our front four.
Does Cox care about us?
I don't know. I've noticed him take plays off quite often, so it's hard to say.
Dude, we have Sweat and Hargrave. They're always coming up, and then Reddick's doing his thing. Brandon Graham's doing his thing. And then I just don't see. I mean, obviously he's not at the level of all pro player anymore, but he's still good.
I've been saying it all year. I try not to because Fletcher Cox is obviously an Eagles great, and I respect the hell out of him. And he's done a lot of great things for us. But I've been saying for about 2 years now that I've been noticing that he takes a lot of plays off, and he just he hasn't been the same. He still has an impact, so it's hard to say you just need to get rid of him or anything. I don't think that. He's a great leader. He's a great presence in the locker room, and he does a good job still. He's still doing above average from most D tackles, but it's almost more frustrating to see what he does when he's at his best and then what he does when he's just taking plays off. So,
brutal.
That hurts, and that's a big reason why our run defense has been doing well. It starts with the D tackles with the run game. So, if he's not giving his 100% every play, then we're not going to stop him.
And then on the offensive side, obviously Goedert went to IR today. He just got put on the IR list. How much does that affect the offense, and what adjustments do you think we're going to have to make based off of losing that tight end that is honestly like a top 5 tight end in the league passing wise? Like he's been, I want to say blocking, but he's been our like another safety blanket for Hurts.
Well,
honestly, maybe our number 2. If you don't
believe it or not, I was actually going to say that if we're going to notice his loss anywhere, I think it's going to be more in the run game than it is in the passing game. We have the guys to cover, taking over his spot. We've got Devontae Smith, we got Quez Watkins, we got AJ Brown, and Jack Stoll. He's obviously no stud, but he can handle himself. He gets open sometimes. He does an okay job. He's nothing stellar. I think that we'll see if there's a problem in the run game. If Jack Stoll can't block the same way that Goedert can, I think it'll be very noticeable. So I think that we're gonna have to see how much of an impact losing Goedert is gonna make. I don't think that it'll make a massive difference in the passing game. It does take away a little bit of that option of the tight end screen. You're probably not going to run it as much.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too bad. I think I hate losing Goedert because Goddard's a hell of a player. I love Goedert, one of my favorites on the Eagles, but I don't think it's a killer exactly.
Well, I don't know what run game you're talking about because we clearly don't use number 26. I didn't even know who he was, and he came in, and I was like, "Wow, that guy's is that guy a rookie?" Like, holy crap, Sirianni! Like, I just don't understand. We need to run the ball. We need to establish the run, and we can run the ball. I just don't. We just go away from every game plan, and we need to go back to it. We need to go back to it this week versus the Colts, and if it's not now, it's never. Because
I've been saying it all year is that I have my biggest problem with the Eagles is that they jump away from their successful game plans. They do all the time. They'll come out the first drive and they'll run the ball, 8 times for, 60 yards. And then the next drive they'll come out and they'll pass the ball 3 times in a row. And it's like, what? Like, why would you do that? And like, that's the thing that I've been seeing all year with the Eagles that I truly just don't understand. I don't know if it's the coaches outthinking themselves and thinking that they need to make adjustments before they do or what, but pretty good coach one time back in the day once said, his name was Vince Lombardi.
I never heard of
He said, the classic line of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he said, if a play works, I'll run it 5 times in a row until you stop it. The exact same play, every play in a row until it's stopped.
That's what Washington did to us.
I don't see why
we can't run the same. We won't run the ball 3 times in a row.
I'm obviously not saying, that doesn't mean I'm saying, run the ball every play, blitz every play. I'm not stupid. But, if we're running the ball on first down, we pick up 5 yards, run that same play again. Why not?
Why not? Let them stop
it. Pick up another 5 yards, another first down. Do it again.
And then that only makes more room for AJ Brown in the secondary because they can't guard everyone. So if they want to keep doing that to AJ and they want to keep putting someone else over the top of him and have everyone focus on him, run it to his side and have him do a corner route.
Anytime a team game plans for one player like they would for AJ Brown, that means that somebody else is going to be open somewhere. That leaves an opening somewhere on the field. Unless they cover it extremely, extremely well, it's going to leave an opening somewhere if they're putting extra emphasis on a new spot. So that's something that once again comes down to coaching. The Eagles need to find it. The Eagles need to find that spot and attack it. I feel like the coaches aren't giving enough information to the players to work with. The players are just out there playing. The coaches have to be the ones to say, all right, we're seeing this, this, and this. You guys got to do that, that, and that. But I have not been seeing it all year. And that's something that, if we're going to be a Super Bowl team, that is something that has to change. Because other teams are gonna do that to us. Especially, imagine going against our old coach Andy Reid. You think he's not gonna make adjustments? Think he's not gonna make that kind of adjustments to us?
That's all he does is adjust. He adjusts when he doesn't need to adjust. When he sees something a little bit wrong, he adjusts and makes the play to it. It's
exactly
a great coach, Bill Belichick. All right, so how do you think this game's going to go against the Colts? How do you see it panning out? How do you think see it starting, see it ending? Am I going to cry after or what?
It's, we're in a spot where it's getting hard to say right now. I'm not 100% sure. I want to say that it's going to be a blowout, but at the same time, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not sure what to expect from our run run stopping. I think that's going to make or break the game, obviously, with a running back like Jonathan Taylor. So I want to say I think I might give 2 scores here. I want to say if we do a good job of stopping the run, keeping Jonathan Taylor contained, I think it's a 31-10 game. I think that if you don't do a good job of keeping Jonathan Taylor contained, it's looking a lot more like a 21-24 game. But I think we still win either way.
No, I like that. I think it's going to be. I see us actually overcommitted to the run. I think that has to be the main focal point of practice. I think that's all everyone's hearing. I was hearing a Brandon Graham interview yesterday, and they all know that no one likes to be chewed out like that. And he was getting chewed out by Howard Eskin. Like, literally, he was asking these questions. I was like, oh my God, like, you're sitting right next to this guy and you're asking him, like, you guys saying you guys suck and you guys are awful. And I was like,
that's the Philly mentality. Sometimes
you've been there forever. Guys
like Brandon Graham that have been there forever, I'm sure there's a part of him that appreciates hearing that.
No, I don't know if they obviously do because I can't speak for him, but I think he did. And I think they all know it. They know they want to do their job.
It's football. You're supposed to be tough. You want to hear the truth and nothing but the truth. I don't need you to make me feel better about it.
No, you got if you're not doing the right thing in it. So my score prediction is going to be 31-17. And I just changed it for 21 because I don't think that they're going to be able to move the ball that much on us. I think that this team is getting too much look at the public. Like they're like, oh, like they just beat the Raiders. Like Jeff Saturday is a new coach. They're adjusting to his new schemes. And I don't think, honestly, I don't know what to think of him. And I don't think beating the Raiders means anything because they're like, honestly, they're bottom of the league because they're 2-7, right?
Yeah, they got the second pick in the draft right now.
Exactly. So I don't think that they have any reason that we can't kill this team. I don't think there is any they were in a close game with the Raiders, and Josh McDaniels is a horrible coach, by the way, for the Raiders. And I don't think Jeff Saturday has ever dealt with a team like ours. Like he did. It's his second game. He's facing one of the best in the NFL. He's facing 2 different levels of football. Like I know they're at home, and I hope Nick Sirianni doesn't just all smiles and smiles going in because he's going back to his old home. I know it will be.
He's not going to be all smiles.
He needs to be. I want him to be fired up and furious because
I saw his demeanor on the sideline and after the game. For the Commanders game, he's not going to be happy. Trust me.
I need it. I need some fire. I need the first drive of the game to just one oh my God, he's back. Now that fighter that they lose, they got beaten up the last fight, and then they come out and you're like, is he done? And then pop, and it's like, oh, he's back. Yeah. Knockout, second round. See ya. I want that type of game, and I think that's going to happen. I think the Eagles are going to be able to bounce back, even though I'm been negative on this week. I think they're going to be able to bounce back, and if they don't, then it's a level of concern because this is not a good team either.
Absolutely, but once again, there's part of me that will always come back to sometimes the matchups just don't go your way. And I'm not saying that, the matchups don't go our way for these 2 games. But, with the Commanders, it's a divisional game. We got both of our run stoppers out. They're running the ball on us, yada, yada. In a game like the Colts, I feel like if we were to lose, it would come back to, our run game couldn't stop Jonathan Taylor. Not the rest of the team just didn't do great. We'll see. I also agree that this is a game that I think we're gonna wipe them because I think that we're gonna come back, throwing shots out.
All right, I know we're going a little bit long. Let's bang out these Money Mitch's slate of the week, starting with the Titans Packers, and let's just run through these. Let's run through these picks, quick analysis, and bang bang bang.
Yeah, we'll make this quick. So I just want to give you guys an update on our records. So coming into week 11, my record this season has been 13-19-2, and Maslij is 10-22-2. So I cannot say we've been stellar, but we're making our way back around. But anyway, let's jump into this week's picks. Let's start with Thursday Night Football. You got the Titans versus the Packers. Packers at home. I think that I'm going to take the Titans in this one +3. I've gone back to my previous weeks. I've said that the Packers aren't a very good team. I know they just beat the Cowboys. I think that was, a bit of momentum going there. I just think the Titans are going to run all over them, and they're going to have trouble. And I think the Titans' defense is pretty good too. So for my second pick, I'm going to go with our Birds -6.5 versus the Colts. I think they gave them a low line after this past week. And I think that it's something that we should be able to handily cover, especially after a loss coming back hot. For my third pick, I'm going to go with the Bengals -4 versus the Steelers. I think that line is a little bit too small. I know it's a divisional game, so it'll be a little tough. But I think that the Bengals should be able to pull that one out semi-easily. But they struggle against bad teams, so we'll see. And then for my last pick, I'm going back and riding this again. This is my second time riding this year. I'm going to be taking the Jets +3 versus the Patriots. The Patriots are they're the home team this week, right?
Yeah, they're in Foxborough.
Okay. So last game that they played, the Jets were home, and they still made them +3 underdogs. And then coming into this game, once again, Patriots are home, Jets are +3 underdogs. Jets have the better record. They have a good defense. They've been playing well this year, and I think they need a little bit of revenge for the last one. So I'm going to go with the Jets +3. And those are my picks for this week. So ride them. Let's get it.
So I'm going with the Packers -3 only because they're in Lambeau, and I hope they can stop the run. I don't believe they're a very good team, but they got a little bit of momentum back. I think Aaron Rodgers maybe finally finds a little bit of spark with Watson, and maybe finally does something. I don't like that pick that much, but I have to fade Matty Mitch because we can't have the same picks. Next, I'm going with a team that I claimed last week would beat the Commanders if they were to play each other. So I'm taking the Texans plus a field goal. But I don't think the Commanders are a good football team, and I hope I prove why. My next pick, I don't want to go with the Jets anymore. I'm going to go with a stupid pick that I've been going all year, and I'm going to wait for them to win. I'm going to go with the Broncos -2.5 at home. I don't think the Raiders are a good football team. I don't think the Broncos ever play offense well. But if there's any time to play offense, it's against this horrendous Raiders defense, and they're in shambles. So I'm taking the Raiders instead of the Jets.
Hard to believe sometimes.
It's horrible. My last pick is going to be a divisional Monday night game, and it's the Niners versus the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are nearly a better team than them, but they're going to get a touchdown in their home. In a divisional dog at home, we just witnessed the divisional game with the big spread in the winter. I think they're going to keep it close, and I think that even though the Niners won last game against the Chargers, they struggled a little bit, and they ended up stepping up on D and win. But I think I'll take the Cardinals plus a little bit more than a touchdown at 8. So.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. I think the Cardinals are better than people give them credit for. But we talked about this.
Starts, by the way.
I
said I hope Kyler starts.
Yeah, that would help.
That would be horrible if Colt McCoy started against that 49ers.
People always underrate those divisional games, man. One example I always go back to is that I watched the Dolphins, like the 1-2 win Dolphins, beat Tom Brady like 3 times.
Well, you remember the Kenyon Drake return,
of course,
right?
Of course. but that's my point, dude. You've got the 15-2, Patriots against like the 1-16, whatever. I'm just making up, whatever. But like the 1-16 Dolphins or whatever, and the Dolphins win. But I've seen it like 3 times. And my point is, it's just divisional games are divisional games. Sometimes you just they come in hot, no matter how bad the team is. It actually almost gives them like a massive boost to be a bad team playing against a really good team in your own division just makes you want to beat them that much more.
Yeah.
So
No,
division games will always be a toss-up, and that will never change.
It's hard. It's hard to say, Will, and I know we're disappointed this week. I'll put a smile back on my face when we maybe beat the Colts. I hope. Now that I'm back to reality, I even was too high. I'm never happy about any team, and I was too high on the Phillies too. So I'm never getting my hopes up ever again in any sport in Philadelphia because the Sixers second round. No, we're not going to get on this entire state of Philadelphia. You get happy, and then they just drag you down to the ground and stop your head in. So don't get happy, don't be content, and kill these guys and keep going.
All right, so before we start to build a little army of pessimists like Maslij, I think we should call this one a podcast. We did the Eagles, they're in a tough spot right now. They lost their first game, and they have a lot to prove this week. So we're just gonna have to see. This is going to be the turning point of the season. Whether we can come back from it and move forward, or if we're gonna roll over and have trouble. This is going to be the turning point of the season. So we're just going to have to sit back and watch and see what happens.
Yep. So go Birds, baby.
Yes, sir. So this has been another podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with Steven Maslij. And we will see you guys again next week for another episode. Go Birds.